Good evening and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'll call this meeting to order. Our board clerk, Julie Mitchell, will take roll call this evening.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, Andy Coe is absent this evening, and tonight's board members who are present are Sal Camarada, Boshana Etten, Chris Johnson, Mike Roselli, Jeff Moncrief, Sean McAndrew, Ruben Moore, Diane Mayo, and Ken George.
Thank you. So the Cary Community Plan will continue to be our guiding document for this board. Our role is to function as citizen advisors to the council who will ultimately make the final decision on all rezoning activity. We recognize that not all rezoning requests are supported unanimously by our members of our community. We strive to balance the impact of increased building density required to support Cary's growth while maintaining the historic charm and character of our town. The Cary Community Plan was initially adopted in 2017 following a collaborative effort between Cary's citizens and our town government. That collaboration has continued and resulted in a recently updated version of the plan adopted by Council in January of 2025. The chapters of the plan include live, work, shop, engage, shape, move, enrich, serve, and act. The community plan can be found on Cary's website. Your citizen opinions based on the Cary Community Plan document play a very important role in advising our leaders. We encourage our citizens to refer to the plan and provide feedback that's based on the guiding principles of the plan as it relates to the zoning request. While this is a public meeting, it is not a public hearing. There's no opportunity for the public to speak during this meeting. If you have comments about any of the items, we encourage you to reach out to staff by email or phone. You may also reach out to board members through email. You may also contact your council members directly through email or during various public speaks out portions at any regularly scheduled council meeting. These meetings may be streamed live on Cary's website and will be posted to YouTube. All past Planning and Zoning Board meetings are available to view on YouTube as well. At this point, we would be looking to adopt our agenda, and so if someone's willing to make a motion to adopt the agenda, I would appreciate that.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will move forward with that. And we also now need to review our minutes from the November 27th meeting of 2025. Does anyone like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from November 17th.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I've got the wrong date. So November 17th, let's document that and make sure we get that corrected in in the record. Any second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, that brings us to our cases tonight. We have two cases. Our first case is 25 REZ 05, Pittard Sears Road rezoning. It's on the agenda. Ms. Erin Puckett, our principal planner, will share the staff's presentation. Following that presentation, the applicant will share their remarks. All board members will have an opportunity to ask questions of staff and the applicant. And Ms. Puckett, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Board. This is a request to annex and apply initial Cary zoning to approximately 12.6 acres at 606 and 694 Pittard Sears Road. The site is located in Chatham County on the northwest side of Pittard Sears Road, approximately 0.3 miles east of the American Tobacco Trail. The site is surrounded by detached residential development. Cary's GIS indicates a stream buffer impacting the northern portion of the site, and field determination of such features is required at time of development plan review. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan does not identify any greenway corridors within or adjacent to the site. A street-side trail along the south side of Pittard Sears Road is currently under construction as part of a capital project that will complete a gap between O'Kelly Chapel Road and the American Tobacco Trail. Pittard Sears Road is identified as a two-lane collector on Cary's planned roadway width map and will require roadway improvements, including sidewalk, along the site frontage. The site is currently within Chatham County and is zoned Chatham Residential 1, and the applicant proposes an initial Cary zoning of Residential 8 conditional use, or R8CU. The applicant has offered several zoning conditions, including limiting development of the site to a maximum of 23 detached dwellings, which is approximately 1.8 units per acre. Ensuring lot size will be calculated exclusive of stream buffers, which would otherwise be allowed by North Carolina general statutes. Providing a two-car garage for each unit and wiring each garage for future electric vehicle charging. Ensuring all perimeter buffers will be within common open space. Increasing the required site frontage improvements to accommodate a 5-foot wide bike lane in lieu of the 4-foot wide lane that would otherwise be required today. Removing the temporary turnaround to the north on Batasso Drive, as that street will connect into the site. And installing a mid-block pedestrian crossing, which will include a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, or RRFB. An analysis against the Imagine Cary Community Plan finds that policies in multiple chapters apply, along with the guidance of the Chatham-Cary Joint Land Use Plan. As seen on this slide, the site is within the low-density residential subdistrict of the planning area. These areas recommend a maximum density of 2 units per acre, and as noted previously, this request proposes approximately 1.8 units per acre. The plan also underscores the importance of transitions within this area. In this case, the request proposes lot sizes and density generally consistent with those northeast of the site. And we note that densities are intended to generally decrease and lot size increase from east to west within this planning area. The site is largely surrounded by existing Cary development and could therefore address the Live Chapter infill policy. Regarding the Shape Chapter, transitions can be made via land uses, form, and buffers, and the proposed rezoning would provide the same use as surrounding development, thereby making a logical use and form transition. And the R8 minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet is consistent with development to the north, although slightly smaller than that of the development to the west. Buffers are proposed to default to LDO minimum widths, with a condition ensuring they will be located on common open space, as some buffers may otherwise be on individual lots. The proposed rezoning includes frontage improvements, increased slightly to accommodate a 5-foot wide bike lane, and additionally, the proposal would provide a pedestrian crossing, as I mentioned previously, on Pittard Sears Road with an RRFB, or rectangular rapid flashing beacon, subject to Cary and NCDOT approval. That enhanced crossing would facilitate access to the street-side trail on the south side of Pittard Sears Road. The proposed rezoning commits to wiring garages for potential future electric vehicle charging, which may help speak to sustainable energy practices, and as noted previously, ensures a commitment to locating all required buffers in a common open space, and this may help to ensure tree preservation over time. A neighborhood meeting was held in June of last year, and 72 members of the public attended. Questions and concerns included those about site access and connections to adjacent development, questions about buffers, concerns regarding traffic, drainage, loss of open space and tree canopy. And following the meeting, staff received calls and 311 inquiries from 7 citizens, most of which were seeking additional information about the rezoning process and opportunities to have their feedback heard. Staff also met with representatives of the Dunhill neighborhood to the west, who shared concerns with traffic and pedestrian safety, drainage, and the site density. A public hearing was held in August of 2025, and I do want to note that at that time, the proposed zoning district requested was transitional residential conditional use with smaller lot sizes. There were 5 written comments and 5 in-person speakers at the public hearing. Comments included concerns with the lot size and proposed density in regard to consistency with the surrounding development, general traffic concerns including bicycle and pedestrian safety, concerns regarding the required road connection from the subdivision to the north, and concerns regarding area drainage. Council also had clarifying questions regarding the surrounding transportation network and the guidance of the Chatham-Cary Joint Land Use Plan, and shared comments regarding a concern that the lot size may be too small and the density of the site could appear denser, understanding there were site constraints which may limit the developable area. And a more detailed summary of the public comments and council discussion was included in your staff report. Following the public hearing, the applicant changed their rezoning request from transitional residential conditional use, or TRCU, to R8CU, which guarantees a larger minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet. Previously, with the TRCU request, the applicant had offered a minimum lot size of 6,500 square feet, and the maximum number of lots was reduced from 24 to 23. Staff find that the overall density is consistent with the maximum density recommended in low-density residential areas of the Chatham-Cary Joint Land Use Plan. And development of the site for detached residential lots could address the residential infill policy of the LIVE chapter, as well as providing a good use transition. Also regarding shape, we note lot sizes are consistent with those of Sequoia Creek to the north, although smaller than those in Dunhill to the west. The change in request from TRCU to R8CU guarantees this minimum lot size, as well as slightly larger setbacks, which collectively may help with that overall transition. Provision of a pedestrian crossing with an RRFB to help facilitate pedestrian traffic to street side trail on the south side of Pittard Sears Road helps to meet MOVE chapter policies, and commitments to future EV wiring in the garages for all homes and providing perimeter buffers in common area help to at least modestly address some enriched policies. This concludes my presentation. Worth Mills, the applicant's representative, is here to provide comments, and then I'm available for your questions.
Terrific, thank you. I have an opportunity for our requester to present.
Good evening, board members. Worth Mills with Longleaf Law Partners here on behalf of Gala Investments LLC, who is the applicant and the contract purchaser of these 3 lots. When we initially filed this rezoning request, we were pursuing a transitional residential zoning district for up to, at that point, 25 homes with minimum lot sizes between 6,500 and 8,000 square feet. After multiple meetings with the adjacent neighborhoods, primarily those within Sequoia Creek and Dunhill Estates, and following the town council meeting, we then amended this application to request the R8 zoning to allow up to 23 single-family detached homes, and which would also require a minimum 8,000 square foot lot size. And that results, as Ms. Puckett said, in a density of 1.8 units per acre. We think that that update is more compatible with the minimum lot sizes that you see in the Sequoia Creek neighborhood to our northeast. And this update also furthers the Chatham County Cary Joint Land Use Plan, which recommends density be lowered as you move from east to west as you approach the western boundary of that land use plan area. And so, as you can see on the screen, the resulting zoning districts decrease in intensity as you go from the transitional residential in Sequoia Creek to the R8 zoning district that we're requesting to the R12 zoning at Dunhill Estates, and the resulting density decreases as well. Sequoia Creek is 2 units an acre. This rezoning would allow for 1.8 and Dunhill Estates at 1.4. So both in zoning district and density, moving that, that development potential down as you go from east to west. A couple of conditions that I did want to highlight: we are providing a new pedestrian connection to the multi-use path on the south side of Peter Sears Road. That multi-use path will connect O'Kelly Chapel Road and the American Tobacco Trail, giving new residents as well as existing residents new ways to get on and off the American Tobacco Trail. We are also offering a wider bike lane along our Peter Sears frontage than is required to improve pedestrian mobility there. And we are requiring that each home have a 2-car garage that is wired to support EV charging. To summarize, we think that this requested zoning is consistent with the Cary-Chatham Joint Land Use Plan and furthers many of the goals in the overall community plan as outlined in the staff report. I'm available to answer any questions, but appreciate the opportunity to be heard this evening. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
So now we have an opportunity to ask questions as a board. Just as a reminder, the Cary Community Plan is in place to guide the development. As you think about your questions, keep in mind how the proposed case fits or does not fit within the Cary Community Plan. And when making a motion, it would be helpful to describe how you see your motion impacting the Cary Community Plan. For example, is it the work, shape, or live chapter that you've decided, supports this request? It's not a requirement, but it would be helpful for town council as they consider the final approval. So do any board members have any questions at this time? Go ahead.
I guess this would be for planning staff. Just want to find out if the treatment for the multi-use path and the bike lanes is intentional. McConnell Lane going towards American Tobacco Trail, that's where the multi-use path starts at McConnell going towards the trail. And going away from the trail, there's a bike lane and a sidewalk. So for this frontage, are we talking about a consistent bike lane? And I assume there would be sidewalk also if it was a bike lane?
So, and I'll look to transportation to correct me if I'm wrong, but this would be a wide outside lane for bikes, and then it would be a sidewalk along this northwestern frontage. It would just be sidewalk. So the street side trail is just on the south side, which is part of why they're offering the pedestrian crossing, so they can bring pedestrians across to that wider treatment. Did I get that wrong about the outside lanes?
How much wider would the road be?
It's just an addition, well, so we don't know how much right-of-way is out there now. Just like any other site, they're required to improve their half out to what the Cary Community Plan requires. What they've offered to do is where our cross-section typically requires a 4-foot wide bike lane on the outside, they're increasing it to 5 feet, which is more in line with
One of
AASHTO
the things,
guidance.
a couple of things I'm curious about is the Sharrow marking going to be 4 foot from the curb or the center of the lane?
I'm going to let Priyatham Kanda with our transportation
Okay.
department.
Thank you. Good evening. The sharrows are probably going to be centered in the lane. And the reason for that being, when Peter Sears was built or widened along this stretch, it was done in a piecemeal manner. So the cross-section varies a little bit from O'Kelly Chapel Road down all the way down to the trailhead. A couple of years ago, there were several concerns from the residents, and we worked with DOT to have some level of consistent notation for bikes. And the resolution of that was that there's not sufficient pavement to have a separate striped bike lane along the entire length. And so for now, the most consistent treatment would be to place the sharrows in the center of the lane. So it's a clear indication to the drivers that it is going to be a shared path between vehicles and bikes. At some point in the future, when the Chatham District NCDOT office resurfaces the street, we would have an opportunity to work with them to decide whether we want to continue that same notation or if we want to stripe a separate bike lane, depending on the asphalt width that we would have. So that's why it feels a little bit uncertain, but just a couple of years ago, we did some resurfacing and restriping, and we added additional signage just so the drivers are aware that bikes have right-of-way also along the street.
Part of what I'm confused about is there's already a widening on the McConnell Lane side, and this development is on the narrower lane side where you're talking about the right-of-way. Doesn't that land use approval include building to whatever right-of-way is required?
Yes, so there is also another element here. The road in this area is not exactly centered within the right-of-way. So you're dealing with that asymmetry here. So once we get the additional 5 feet of asphalt, we'll have to see if it makes sense to stripe that area out so it's not confusing to the bikes, or we include that asphalt and center the sharrows in the total asphalt on the southbound direction.
So I wonder why you couldn't pull a consistent road width from the curb that exists on the other side of the road.
I'm not entirely sure because we haven't looked at a full striping plan for that entire segment of Peter Sears Road at one time before. It all happened in a piecemeal fashion. So you have segments that have a certain width that would allow you to stripe a bike lane, and you have segments that would not allow you to stripe a bike lane.
So your project is an opportunity to correct those.
Yeah,
variances.
when the development plan comes in, we'll look to see where we can maximize consistency of the signage and striping. And, we'll do whatever is best, and also we'll have to respect how much the developer is willing to go beyond their frontage to make changes. NCDOT from the Chatham District also is going to be looking at that. A lot of times, they will have the final say on how striping should be done. So it'll be a teamwork from everybody.
I just want to express my opinion that whatever you do out there should match the other side of the road.
Yes.
And don't take NCDOT's word for what you can do.
Yes, no, we have good bike experts on our team as well. So, and we're also following the latest ASTRO guidance for bicycle accommodations, and we've been requesting DOT to allow Cary to stripe bike lanes according to that.
Don't overlook NACTO along with ASHTO.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That's good. You're good? Any other questions? Go ahead, Ken.
A clarification, Ms. Bucket. So when we have 2 dwelling units per acre, and when we say that, are we applying the state statute, which does include the stream buffers in the 2 per acre? Is that what the official 2 per acre was set by?
No, and that's a great clarifying question. So that density calculation is gross. So that's whether you have a stream buffer on your site or not, it's just total acreage, the calculation of density. So I think I know what you're getting at, which is it feels more dense, if you're accounting for the stream buffer, the fact that there's going to be a portion of the site that's undevelopable.
It feels more dense, but we're getting 1.8 for the area, but that's counting, but you say we don't count, that's without the adjacent stream buffer, the 1.8.
Well, so that's just a gross density calculation.
That's the
It's
gross.
the
So what's
total acreage.
So
That's separate of the condition that they will calculate each lot size separate of the stream buffer. And that's that additional provision that is allowed in state code if they don't write themselves out of it, which they have in this case.
Okay, so the 2, are we comparing apples to apples when we say 2 per acre versus 1.8? Are we comparing similar measurements?
We are.
Okay.
So it's gross density versus gross
I want to
density.
make sure that, because that,
No, it's a great question.
okay. And then the second thing, I think I'll just assume, is that it said chargers, and it's a 2-car garage. I'm assuming they're wiring 1 charger for a 2-car garage.
I believe so. There's no, the way the condition is written, it would just require the wiring
That's
for
what I was
one.
getting. Okay, that's all I need. Thank you.
You go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of neighbor comments about drainage and stormwater runoff, and I was looking at the enriched policies as part of the plan. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, so any development of the site today would have to meet Cary's stringent stormwater requirements, mitigating to the 100-year storm, making sure that pre-construction runoff rates are not exceeded by post-construction. So all of those things will be in play if the site is developed in the future. I cannot speak to whether that will help reduce some of the impacts on adjacent sites. Sometimes it does, just depends on the way that the drainage is running currently from that site. But yes, they will have to meet our very stringent stormwater requirements at time of development plan if they're rezoned.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Bashana?
I have a quick one. Were there any champion trees identified on the side that might want to be saved?
So because this is a conditional use rezoning, they've not yet completed a tree survey, but that will be part of the discussion at time of development plan. And of course, our LDO puts the priority on preservation, unless of course it's right where a road or a stormwater device or something critical has to go.
That was fine.
Anyone else?
I got one more
Sal?
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Ruben.
Do we know what the existing and proposed speed limit are on Pittard Sears?
I'm not certain, and I believe it's 35. We
35
could
unless
double check.
otherwise posted. I'm just kidding.
We can verify that. I believe it's 35, but I would have to double check. I think that question came up at council too, and it's been a while ago.
Sorry, I have one at the
Sal?
bottom.
Yep, go ahead,
I'm
Ken.
sorry, So, I read about the connectivity, and obviously people, we have to have connectivity because that's our ordinance, but I didn't quite, that back corner for Colmer Manor Drive,
Yes, let me pull up a vicinity
really in
map.
the corner. It doesn't look like it's connectable, but I just want to be sure if I'm looking at that right, or if it's,
Sorry, my number lock was not on. So you're speaking about the Colmar Manor Drive that comes in?
yeah, it's right there in the
rear.
corner where there's no room to connect to anything, really, it looks like.
Yes, so default requirement is for it to connect, and then in reality, we are aware that's where that stream buffer is that I spoke about previously. So assuming that is an environmental feature that's there, they would still have to go through the modification process at time of development plan to not connect it through. But if that's a physical impediment to the connection, it is likely that that may just cul-de-sac into that corner of the site. That's certainly a possibility at this time.
That's what I was, okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Not
Mike?
not a question, but I just wanted to point out that, going back to the drawing board, coming back as a R8CU, really to get in the context of the adjacent developments, I think they did a really good job threading the needle. Like, I don't think you could more appropriately set the density and zoning here, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You preempted my comment. I think, too, that this shows really the spirit of collaboration and cooperation in my mind and what I've seen. So to that extent, if anyone's willing to make a motion, they're in your package, would be willing to entertain a motion for this rezoning request.
I move that the board find 25 REZ 05 is consistent with the comprehensive plan and all other applicable plans for the reasons set forth in the staff report, presentation, and discussion by the Planning and Zoning Board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so we've got a motion on the floor. Sean, I'll let you provide any additional commentary on that motion.
I think to echo what has already been said, it's thread the needle very well. It's appropriate for the area, and it's, the continued, collaboration for, responsible development.
Chris, do you have anything else you want to add
No,
to
it's
that? or-
pretty much the same thing.
Sal, I'll just start with you in case you have any additional questions or comments. Or
Just one question, is there going to be sidewalks within the development?
So there would be. It's required to put them on at least one side of the street. We will encourage two, but they have to do at least one.
Thank you.
anything, Sean? No? Mike? Anyone? Ruben?
Yeah, based on George's comment about the dead-end roads that exist now and their connections, I noticed both of them are marked for future road extension. So has that already been looked at? You talked about it going into the stream buffer.
Yes, I can speak to that a little bit further. So the one to the north, the Batasso Drive connection, that we know will connect into the site. As
Right.
you've noted, that's marked as a future street extension. The one coming in that northern corner, Colmar Manor Drive, is also shown as a future road extension. but may be constrained by the physical topography and environmental features. So we don't have that full engineering yet to know for certain, but we're aware that there could be an impediment to that full connection in that northern corner.
Can I just add a comment to
Yes.
that? Other situations like this have been handled with a good pedestrian connection.
Sure.
Even if there's not a road or automobile connection, and that would be a shortcut to the American Tobacco Trail if they could come this way.
And I think a time and development plan, that typically is our approach from a transportation side. If you can't facilitate the full road connection, we often look at a pedestrian connection as an alternative.
Thank you.
That's a good point. Thank you. Diane or Ken, any comments? No. All right. Well, then I guess I would take the motion to a vote. So all those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
So we've got motion carries. Well, thank you. I appreciate the presentation, and we appreciate your appearance this evening as well. Thank you. All right. So we're moving on to our second case today, and this is 25 REZ 08, and it's 8732 Green Level Church Road rezoning. And so Micah Arnold, our senior planner, will share the staff's presentation. Following the presentation, the applicant will share their remarks. All board members will once again have an opportunity to ask questions of the staff or the applicant. Ms. Arnold, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Board. This is a request to rezone approximately 3.31 acres located at 8732 Green Level Church Road. The site is located east of Green Level Church Road and south of the existing stub of Nautilus Place in the Toscana subdivision. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan does not indicate any greenway corridors planned within or directly adjacent to the site. A street side trail is proposed along Green Level Church Road and Mills Farm Road to the west. Thomas Brooks Park is located about a third of a mile northeast of the subject property. Green Level Church Road is a thoroughfare west of the site, and Mills Farm Road is a proposed collector southwest of the site. Nautilus Place, the only public street directly connecting to the site, is a local street. The current zoning is Residential 40 or R40. And the applicant requests rezoning to Residential 12 Conditional Use or R12 CU. The proposed zoning conditions include limiting the use to detached dwellings and associated accessory uses, a maximum density of 1.9 dwelling units per acre, which could allow up to 6 homes, a commitment to providing perimeter buffers and common open space, as some may otherwise be located on lots, a minimum of 750 square feet of community gathering space, which is 150 square feet more than the LDO requirement for a development of this size, and finally, a commitment to curb, gutter, and sidewalk on both sides of streets within the development. As shown by the blue star, the site is located within the Green Level Special Planning Area, neighborhoods east of Flat Branch sub-area. This special planning area supports a gradual downward transition in density, moving west from NC 540 towards the Chatham County line, with areas east of the Flat Branch stream not to exceed about 3 dwelling units per acre. Additional policy guidance includes cluster subdivision design and a predominant land use of detached dwellings. The proposed R12 zoning and density of 1.9 dwellings per acre is in keeping with the area's current land use pattern and generally meets the policy guidance of the special planning area. When looking at the LIVE chapter, we note the proposal will add a maximum of 6 additional homes on a small site at a density comparable to adjoining developments. Regarding shape, the proposed rezoning would provide detached dwellings amidst existing detached residential developments, thereby making a logical use and form transition. The applicant has committed to providing 5-foot sidewalks on both sides of any streets within the development, exceeding the current local street cross-section requirement of sidewalk on only one side, supporting the MOVE chapter policy of applying multimodal street designs. When looking at the Enrich chapter, the proposal includes a commitment to ensuring all required buffers are in common open space. The LDO otherwise allows buffers for 8,000 or more square foot lots to be on individual lots. This commitment may help better ensure tree preservation over time, which can help protect existing tree canopy. The project would otherwise meet minimum LDO requirements for open space and buffer planting rates. A neighborhood meeting was held on June 4th of 2025, and 14 citizens participated. Questions and concerns were related to an adjacent rezoning request, the proposed density, stormwater control measures, and the extension of Nautilus Place. Staff has since received one email citing concerns with the proposed density of the development and received one call with questions about the proposal. A public hearing was held in October. There was one written comment and 2 speakers who expressed concerns regarding compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood, the adjacent rezoning, drainage in the area, and potentially prohibitive costs related to stormwater ponds for a small subdivision, the lot size and suggestion that the lots be larger for better consistency with the surrounding development, general traffic concerns including a desire for a traffic study, and concerns regarding the road connection from the subdivision to the north. Council comments and questions included clarifications regarding traffic studies, including support of a signal warrant study on Green Level Church Road, clarification that there are existing neighborhoods with swales connected to newer neighborhoods with curb and gutter, clarifying questions about the surrounding density and lot size, and observations that community gathering area and perimeter buffers in open space are positive. Following the public hearing, the applicant made no changes to the proposal. Staff notes that many of the policies of the Cary Community Plan apply as detailed in your staff report. A high-level summary is provided here. Staff find that the small residential infill site is supported by the Green Level Special Planning Area neighborhoods east of Flat Branch and some LIV policies. The proposed use of detached dwellings amidst existing detached dwellings makes a logical use and form transition supporting shape policies. The commitment to providing sidewalk on both sides of all new street construction ensures consistency with MOVE policies. And finally, the proposal's commitment to locating all perimeter buffers in open space may help with tree canopy preservation, which supports the enriched chapter. This concludes my presentation. Randy Miller, the applicant's representative, is available to provide comments, and following the public hearing, I'm available to answer your questions.
Terrific, thank you. Mr. Miller, thank you.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Which one?
Maybe that one, I think. Yep.
This one,
Just
okay.
get it high enough for you. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Randy Miller with Thompson Associates. On behalf of the owners who are also here tonight, staff presented, I think, everything very well. This is a unique piece of property in the fact that it's sort of landlocked. There's only one access to it. It's through Nautilus Place. I know there were some concerns about access to it, but there's only one access. It's the extension of Nautilus Place down into the site. I do know there was some talk that any development, we'd have to provide a stub to the west, to the adjacent property, and any development would be proposed to do that. I know homeowners were concerned about the fact that the curb and gutter will be required and sidewalks along this street extension, where the existing street is just a ditch and shoulder section. I know we'll have to work out some issues on how to make that transition. And I know some other concerns with stormwater, but we believe there's enough area to control the stormwater, and part of any development plan would have to control it anyways to meet the requirements, and the intent is to do so. Other than that, that's about it, and if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Sure, thank you. So at this time, we have an opportunity for the members of the board to ask questions. Once again, just please keep in mind the relevance to the Cary Community Plan. I guess we went down to the left previously. Sal, any questions?
Yeah, could I see the slide on the PRC slide on connectivity to,
Sure.
so the blue is existing. I just felt that there was, it looks like there's, it sort of begs to have some connectivity to the south, to the bottom along those property lines, and seeing that if nothing's gonna happen in this, with this site, then I would expect that probably nothing will happen with the other site, so anything, reasoning behind, no connectivity to the existing street side trail?
Well, the site does not have frontage along Green Level Church Road or Mills Farm Road. The site's only frontage is along Nautilus Place, which is why they're required to provide the connection there.
Just through the access streets?
Correct.
Okay. I thought sometimes they put them on the borders of some of the lots and sites.
So are you talking along
Like a street stub.
north of Holston Bank Way?
I would just, sort of along the, let's see, along the borders where the buffers would be.
So they would be required to provide a stub to the site to the west, which that site has frontage along Green Level Church Road, but is not part of this rezoning. So if that site were to eventually develop, the stub that would be provided by this site would eventually connect out to Green Level Church Road and provide that connection.
Okay, thank you.
Lashana?
So kind of going off what you were talking about, so is then we're not gonna be having like cul-de-sac situation. You will have to come through and stub out.
Yes, and I'll
Right.
look to transportation to talk about the details of what that stub may look like at time of development plan.
I'll try my best to answer that question because we don't have any design drawings for this. So Notley Place would come down south, and then it would have to curve west. So we don't know if that curvature would work, or they would have to put a small roundabout there to provide a continuous circulation, but it will not be a cul-de-sac.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I mean, even if it is a cul-de-sac, then there would be another
would have to
T
be a-
intersection that would go west,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, there has to be still a
Yeah,
stub.
it would not be a dead end, so there will be some connectivity.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, so that answered my question, thank you.
Oh, while he's still up there, can I ask one?
Yeah, sure.
Before you go
ahead.
too far. So if it came down from the north to the south, and there was a cul-de-sac at the bottom, and there was an angle off the T, off to the left, they did require that they have 5-foot sidewalks on all streets. So if they stub, they're going to put a 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, even if it's just a stub, because I think they said all streets.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, just make sure of that. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Chris, any questions?
Did I hear right, is the density, it is at the same or greater than the surrounding?
Yes, it's similar to surrounding
Okay, I
development.
thought that's the case, I just wanted to verify. That's all I had.
Mike, anything?
We said 3.3 acres at a density of 1.9. It's basically a maximum of 6 units.
Correct.
Okay, no more questions for me, thanks.
Sean, anything?
Same thing. Good.
Rube?
I'm curious about why we are going from sidewalk section to existing shoulder section, and I'm wondering about where the high ground is related to that.
That was a commitment of the applicant to make that rezoning condition for the curb and gutter. The existing conditions in Toscana along Nautilus Place and the subdivision to the north was a condition based on previous plans that the town had for a more rural subdivision feel that we do not use anymore.
It's, I guess Stormwater has reviewed this or will review it.
They will, yes, Stormwater will review this at time of development plan.
I just voice a concern that there's a transition, and generally ditch sections are better for stormwater runoff, but I understand we're transitioning. I think there's going to be a weird transition between the two.
Yes, and we have seen other conditions around the town where Curb and gutter is connecting to existing swale, and we've reviewed those.
I also
types of
think we're going to end up with
projects.
sidewalks that end in a ditch if
That
we're not careful.
Do they curve at these other places? How do they handle it? If it lines up with a ditch, do they curve it back out to the road so people can continue along the road rather than falling in the ditch, right, at a sidewalk?
I would have to get more details for you on
No,
that.
there's got to be, I mean, if they know there's, I'd like to hear that, because that
Yeah,
was
there's
my
probably-
thought to it. It
probably
can't
no
line up
planned
with a
sidewalks
ditch. It's got to turn or something to get to the road so people can keep walking.
Yeah, that's good. So to answer the first part of the question, we do not allow shoulder and ditch sections anymore.
Okay.
Those are gone.
I'm sorry, did not allow what?
Shoulder and ditch sections
Okay.
for new roadways.
Okay, thank you.
Over time, when they are initially built, they have better conveyance of the water and stuff, but over time, maintenance becomes an issue. So it's a lot easier to maintain a curb and gutter section. That is why we only have a curb and gutter section for stormwater conveyance. And to answer your question, what would happen to the sidewalks? Would have to see where a logical terminus is. We may have to put some object markers letting people know that sidewalk doesn't go beyond that. Or would have to terminate it a little ahead of the ditch, so we don't have a situation where people are running into the ditch. So we don't have too many situations like this. The neighborhood to the north is an older neighborhood that was built with, shoulder and ditch sections, no sidewalks back in the day. But multi-model, just having our streets, having multi-model accommodations has become very important for us. In the future, maybe the neighborhood to the north will come and say, hey, we want sidewalks here. We don't know that, but we want to make sure we set up the new subdivision streets in the right way, where if people want to walk, they're able to walk. And again, the sidewalk doesn't go anywhere yet, but once the properties to the west develop, they'll have a connection to Greenville Church Road.
I got a related,
Good, yeah, stay up there.
well, let's see, where was I going with that? Have we ever considered stubbing out a sidewalk to the edge of the road? Because in the absence of sidewalks, pedestrians have a defined place on the roadway. In a lot of neighborhoods that don't want sidewalks, it's because walking in the street's perfectly safe.
Right.
So instead of having a dead end, and it'd be 50 years before they ask for sidewalks
Right.
on the other side, could we just transition the sidewalk to the edge of the street?
A great question. So I don't know the answer to that because when this comes in, goes through the design, we'll have to evaluate what the national guidance is for these kind of situations.
Okay.
It makes sense in a neighborhood situation where, if there's a cul-de-sac nearby. You do not really expect too many cars flying by, so
Right.
maybe that's considered safe. But along a mid-street segment, I'm not sure we should be directing people to go into the street.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So that's a decision that we have to make it.
Given it's a residential neighborhood already and fairly new homes, it's probably not like to be sidewalks anytime soon.
But what we do, we are looking and thinking about some kind of signage that tells pedestrians that, this is dead end and, try not to go, ahead of
Yeah.
that, so.
Yeah. It's kind of like for bicycles, it's a neighborhood greenway on the streets, perfectly fine and safe. Same thing for pedestrians. I just hate to see that concrete wasted where, that last little leg nobody's ever going to use.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Diane? Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I would say too that a lot of those last things that we've discussed are a little bit beyond maybe the scope of, whether or not this zoning is consistent with the plan, but all very good feedback for consideration in the future.
Well, I was thinking that we were trying to make it fit to the neighborhood. That was how I was thinking about it, because part of the Cary community plan, it's got to fit in the.
Yes.
Fit. So that, I was trying, as Ruben was talking, I was trying to say, how is this going to fit?
Yep.
Because that's part of the Cary community plan. It's a technical part, but there's got to be something, and to me, dead end signs on the street, it's like separates these two neighborhoods. I'm sorry, you can't go any further. You hit the end of the road.
Yep.
You can't go in the next neighborhood. It seems like we got to make it fit if we're going to follow the Cary community plan.
Yeah,
That's my
no,
thought.
I agree 100%. I just think that that's the next phase of the equation, and it's good feedback for people to consider as this thing moves forward. I think it's very, very valid, and I'm glad you guys were willing to communicate
I realize
that
it's
level
getting
of
more into
detail.
the details, but
Yep.
since it's in the planning document, I feel
Yeah,
like it needs to be
absolutely.
commented on.
Good comments.
And I would say, this goes back to what, I'll beat the drum again, is that when you have a handful of checks on your list of where it fits Cary community plan, I really, really would like to see an NA for the ones that just don't apply to this thing, so that as the public looks at these things, they don't have to digest everything. And then if it fails in one thing, I'd like to see an X, because then I think we would get a better overview, and the public would get a better overview of how it lines up, because it says something about, commerce. Well, that's NA, we're not doing commerce, they're selling, lemonade on the street. But I think it's important, it would be better, I think, for, to show that, because then if there is an X, because sometimes the staff says it doesn't fit something, but it'd be nice to know that, and this is one thing where I think that the fitting in the neighborhood's kind of it's going to be difficult with, the neighbors have a right to be a little concerned. It goes from a ditch to a sidewalk. It has a different feel, and that's what I'm concerned about, yeah.
Understood.
So, well, at this point, absent any additional questions or comments, we're willing to accept a motion, which is in your package. If someone's willing to provide a motion on 25 REZ08, I would appreciate that.
I move that the board find 25 REZ08 is consistent with the comprehensive plan and all other applicable plans for the reasons set forth in the staff report, presentation, and discussion by planning and zoning board.
Second.
Any additional questions or comments? Mike, do you want to make any additional comments?
No, I think there's only so much you can do here. I think even, in the context of some of the great comments on sidewalks, things like that, the applicant's going to have to conform to town's current standards, and that's going to get figured out. So that's what I got.
Ken, anything?
Current standards, we got to do it that way.
All right. So it sounds like we're in a good spot. Willing to entertain the motion that's been before us. So all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And just as a comment, both of these cases came, and I think they both demonstrated a really good collaboration between the town and the applicant. Both considered feedback, made changes to their plan. At the end of the day, maybe not everybody's satisfied, but I really feel like both of these sort of garner what this whole process is about. So I appreciate both the applicants and the staff for working together to bring these to us. So as we move forward, let's see, find my spot here. We have finished that, so we're heading on into new business. And so for the 2026 meeting schedule, it's been presented to all of us. Does anyone recognize anything from that schedule that there's a conflict or any over the holiday issue that we should be aware of? Otherwise, we'll move forward, and we would be prepared to adjourn. Any additional comments other than let's go home? All right. I deem this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.